Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, talking about episode 3 of the anime series Shoukoku no Altair. and, I gotta be honest, the first three quarters of this episode were really testing my patience, my suspension of disbelief with Mammut summoning his eagle or hawk or whatever it is, which ends up coming onto the scene with a whole horde of birds, and they're going miraculously, somehow without any explanation, knowing to go to the tent where the hostages are being contained within it and ripping that, flammable liquid soaked tent off of them and then subsequently dropping it on Empire soldiers, burning them alive. And it seemed outlandish to me, especially following on the coattails in my previous episode reaction video. In the comments, had I said I was half expecting Mammut's bird to show up, but directly attack the guy that was attacking Mammut with the eye patch. And that did eventually happen. It was long and drawn out, much longer than I would have expected, that whole sequence where this guy's very much literally sticking it to Mammut with the butt of his, whatever the weapon was, and just driving home how much of a failure Mammut was, air quotes, in those moments. I had thought immediately, as soon as we started this episode, the bird was going to be there and help Mammut get, the better of this guy, but not before eschewing the tent work. Like, how did they know? How did they work in cooperation, so miraculously to save the hostages? It's absolutely beyond me. I don't think I've heard such miraculous works of nature since, if you go back to, I believe it was Sold Out, a 3 evening with Kevin Smith, where Kevin Smith relays the story of having looked up the history of the patron Saint Kevin, whom he, says he was probably named after. Not really, but, it was a Catholic saint, and there was all manner of communing with the animals and speaking with them and commanding them. I mean, it's like the outlandish sort of, I guess you could say predominant misconception of what Aquaman is in DC Comics. They whittle it down to, oh, he talks to fishes. Well, no, that's not exactly how it goes with Aquaman. Aquaman is very much a badass. But that's kind of what I was left feeling watching this episode. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me, man. Like, this is supposed to be kind of a historical and everything. And yet we got animals coming in and saving hostages, knowing exactly where to be and what to do. It really was testing my patience a little bit there. I was actually also somewhat surprised that Mammut actually killed the guy. Granted, it was in self-defense, but I was surprised he broke the guy's neck, and killed him right then and there. I thought this was probably a reoccurring villain we would see time and time again. Apparently not. And even some of the Lewis guy, the guy from the Empire, some of his compatriots are killing off each other. And like a soldier of Orm or whatever they called it, I don't exactly remember, but his secret service in a sense, who are trying to perceive where Zaganos, as we find out toward the end of the episode, he has a spy network. And these guys are specially selected by Lewis to go and try to, find out where all that spy network is and basically take it down, because it's messing with the Empire's plans, most specifically Lewis's plans to start a war with Turkey and everything like that. And so it did get a lot more interesting toward the end when the dive-in is holding sort of a judicial, reaction to what Mammut had done. And they call in Ibrahim, they call in Mammut, they call in Zaganos. And all three of these men, they have to tell their versions, their side of things, answer questions. And then they commiserate about what exactly is going to go on, and then they pass judgment. And very much not to my surprise, do we see Zaganos is reinstated as Pasha, or gets to keep that title. We see Ibrahim actually is reinstated as the Vali. But as I assumed, and I very much, I think I said it in my episode 2 discussion video, I was expecting Mammut to be stripped of the rank of Pasha. Now he's been basically given a sort of underling role alongside Halil, who was, his mentor and everything like that, had taken him under his wing and whatever, but he's very much dissatisfied and shocked by this because he was operating largely by his own emotions, the seat of his pants. And this is the punishment now doled out to him. Where it got really interesting, though, was Zaganos approaching him later and giving him this talisman which is part of that spy network. It's how he communes with them and keeps in contact with them to know what the Empire is up to. And now he's handed this off to Mahmut. Now, on the one hand, it confirms Mahmut's suspicions that there's a lot more going on within the Divan. Between the Pashas, they know a lot more than they let on as to what's going on with the potential war that is about to come over the horizon. But the fact that Mahmut will now be able to sort of be free roaming, no longer a Pasha, no longer subject to those rules or put to death, he'll be able to be roving freely and get involved with this spy network and maybe try to work against the war effort on both sides, both within Turkey, his own country, and the Empire and such like that. And so that makes it that much more intriguing to me, and I'm hoping it picks up thusly in the plotting of the stories and the episodes to come. And I hope we don't have any more miraculous works of nature like in this episode that goes so largely unexplained. It just was like a smack upside the head. The birds know what to do. Hey, the birds saved everybody. That was just kind of ridiculous. But yeah, otherwise I enjoyed the episode beyond all of that, and I'm going to be tentatively curious to see where we go from here. I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below what you thought of this particular episode of Shoukoku no Altair, if you've seen it as well, if you thought it was ridiculous as I did, the whole mess with the birds, coming in and saving the day at the last second, knowing what to do, how to do it, and such like that. Whatever your thoughts were, love it or hate it, love having that conversation. Otherwise, it'll be pretty much it for me on this. Hope this video finds you well, and I'll catch you all later. Peace.